Welcome to Green Dot Daily. I'm Maria Marino, live every weekday at 3 Eastern on the Action app. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. Coming up on the show today, MLB picks with Sean Zerillo and a Masters preview with Colin Wilson. But we start in the NBA. And the game of the night is Minnesota at Denver. The home team favored by 6, the number 1 seed in the West, still in play for both teams. Karl-Anthony Towns isn't expected to return from injury until this weekend. 98% of the money is on Denver. Meanwhile, Trae Young could be back from injury as soon as tonight per ESPN. Hawks on the second night of a back-to-back are laying double digits at home against Charlotte. 75% of bets are on Atlanta, who's in 10th in the East. And the Bucks have a quick turnaround against the Magic after Giannis Antetokounmpo suffered a non-contact calf injury last night in a win over the Celtics. Woj reports it's a strain in his Achilles is intact. Bucks now home dogs against Orlando. Time for more money with Matt Moore and Jay Money. So before beating the Celts, the Bucks had lost 4 in a row to some of the worst teams in the league. How much trouble are they in now, Jay, with Giannis out?
None whatsoever, in my opinion. This is the regular season, and nothing really matters until the playoffs. The players know that, the coaches know that as well. Giannis knows that as well. I think he'll be back in round 1. I've seen this movie before as well. He probably comes back game 2. I wouldn't be surprised if he was ready for game 1 of the NBA playoffs. That's how unserious I think that this is. Maybe they'd like to get into the 3 seed rather than the 2 seed. But regardless, I don't think the Bucks are in trouble whatsoever. They're 4-0 against the spread. Versus the best team in the league, than the Boston Celtics this year. And I'm still somewhat scared that they could meet up with the Celtics and give them a run for their money in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I don't think there's no concern whatsoever.
Matt, how do you feel about this? And also anything to like the Bucks maybe trying to avoid like an early meeting with Philly?
No, I don't think so, because there's just as good a chance that they face the Sixers in the 3-6, or if they were to fall to or they could maybe get Miami. Like there are not good options. And honestly, Indiana's given them problems. I think it's there are no good options for the Bucks right now. Like there's not like a good outcome for Milwaukee with how they played lately. I'm a little bit more worried than Jay. Calf strains, the average is about 17 days. Now that's regular season, so you can definitely get back sooner. Problem is that you're compensating with a number of things, as you always are with leg injuries, including, your Achilles. And that tends to make everybody a little bit nervous. You got to be real careful that you don't wind up compensating for that calf strain if you're trying to play through it and then wind up hurting your Achilles. That's obviously a nightmare. Plus, it's one of those injuries, much like hamstrings and quads, where you just kind of got to rest it. And if you try and play on it, it'll re-aggravate it, and then you're in and out, and that's a problem. So the Bucks may be without Giannis for the start of the first round, and I don't necessarily think that any of these teams, whether it's the Sixers, whether it's the Heat, or whether it's the Pacers, I don't think any of those are a good option. Now, if they were to fall to 3 and maybe get, I don't know, the Magic, even the Cavs, with how the Cavs have played lately, maybe not so bad. But I have a little bit of concern here about the Giannis situation. There is a counter argument to be made, not only with what Jay said, but also the Bucks' performance against great teams has been much better than it has been against the rank and file average and sub-average NBA teams. But there's enough here for me to like move them from DEFCON 4, which they were at, to maybe down to DEFCON 3 in terms of absolute panic mode. We're not the 2. If we're at 2, then yeah, we're going to need to start really heading to the bunkers, but not that bad yet.
This playoff chase has just gotten so messy. But in other news, Trae Young on the brink of coming back from a finger injury he had back in February. The Hawks have clinched a play-in berth. Matt, should we be scared at all that they could shack a team in the first round?
No! What? No! Look, I saw the Hawks last Saturday in Denver. I have seen so many teams come through there. It's an altitude, end of the season, and you're just like, I just want to go home. I have never seen a team so dispirited. Never once have I seen a team with less professional spirit than the Atlanta Hawks play with last weekend. Now, look, they've played slightly better since Trae's been out. So the problem is, like, him coming back doesn't necessarily help them. They're without Onyeka Okongwu. They can't defend. all of their players are constantly out of position. They can't defend. They have trouble scoring consistently. They have issues. They had a great opportunity last night to maybe sneak into the 9 spot, which is way more likely to get into the playoffs. By the way, 10 seeds, 0-6 so far in the play-in tournament versus the Heat. That's a division team. Nope, can't get it done, losing overtime. But they are just constantly finding ways to lose. Trae makes them better from a talent perspective, but I'm okay if you want to say that Trae doesn't make them worse. Fine. But you can't look at how they've played with Trae Young the last 3 seasons and think that how they collectively form around him is better. This team makes me sad, and I want them to go away. So no, I do not think they're going to shock the world in the first round.
They make you sad, but that reaction just made me happy, I have to say. Jay, how do you feel about Trae?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts about Trae Young. I just want to say that no team is as bad as you've seen them, and no team is as good as you've seen them as well. That's something that I'd like to say. But I mean, I think the Hawks actually have a ton of upside. It's not with Trae Young though. Like, who is this guy, man? Why? I feel like they tried to sit him for the rest of the season to see what they had in DeJounte Murray and how the team will go with him at the helm, with him being the captain of the team. And they were really good. They were much better offensively and defensively as well with DeJounte Murray running the team. He's had triple doubles. I mean, they are a lot happier out there. They're smiling. They actually play as a team. I don't think Trae Young is a winning basketball player. I don't think that he should be on the Atlanta Hawks anymore. I think that they should sit him down for the rest of the season. So I actually do think that they have an outside chance of making a few surprises, of possibly getting out of the play-in tournament if they don't play Trae Young. And always, when you're bringing back a star player like that, he just kind of seems to mess things up with how the team has been playing without him. But if there was any player that I would not want to see come back to the team, that would be Trae Young. Get this guy out of Atlanta, in my opinion.
Jay, is a better spot for Trae Young this summer at San Antonio with Wembanyama or in LA with LeBron and AD?
I would say San Antonio for sure.
Who?
Same. I just can't. I can't. You're getting too far ahead of me, Matt. I can't wrap my head around all this. But some fighting words from you guys about Trae Young and the Hawks. Jay, along those same lines, how do you feel about Karl-Anthony Towns? He's coming back, but likely not in time for the showdown with Denver tonight, probably this weekend.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, I don't feel like that they should rush him back. Obviously, you don't want him to re-aggravate the meniscus injury, something with the knee that has a lot of moving parts over there. And like I say, another thing, he's not the level of Trae Young, like has the ball in his hands a lot, but the Wolves have gotten into a groove with starting Naz Reid and not having Karl-Anthony Towns out there. So whenever he does come back, I do think that he should come off the bench. But like I say, sometimes these superstar players come back, especially the ones that demand the ball a lot and have the ball in their hand and want to take their shots. They need their shots. Cat needs his shots. So I feel like it could somewhat disrupt the groove that the Wolves have been in as well. I really feel like Naz Reid has really found his way at that starting 4 position. So let's see. I'd be really interested to see what happens when Cat comes back.
Yeah, same. Okay, as for the game itself tonight between the Wolves and Nuggets, Matt, can you just walk us through the playoff implications that could arise?
Yeah, they're huge, Maria. This is effectively for the 1 seed. Denver has San Antonio and Memphis to close the season. The Wolves have tiebreaker over Denver. So if the Wolves win this, the Nuggets are much more likely to finish 3rd than they are 1st. It's going to take an absolute miracle for them to get back into the 1 seed if they lose this. On the other hand, for Denver, if they do win this game, they'll have control of, we've used this phrase, control of destiny for the 1 seed, which means Denver goes 3-0, they're the 1 seed. If they win tonight, win the following 2 games, they'll finish with a 1-game lead over the Wolves, and they'll get the 1 seed to have home court throughout the playoffs. What's interesting here is I think it's a little bit of a debate for Denver. If they win this game, they're kind of pot committed. They need to play starters versus San Antonio and Memphis to close the season. They can win with the bench, but you can't really risk it because you already burned the equity in this game trying to win the 1 seed. You can't go back and then be like, well, now we'll leave it up to chance with our bench. You can't really do that. So for a team that I really honestly think could use the rest, losing tonight would not be the worst outcome for the Denver Nuggets. Minnesota, I think, on the other hand, really wants home court. They are really pushing for it, in part because they know that they're going to beat Denver. They've got to have home court. They know they can't go for a game 1 and a game 7 in altitude. So I expect a top-notch effort from Minnesota tonight. No Towns tonight, but I do expect This is to be a high-level game for both teams. We'll see who plays for Denver. Aaron Gordon missed last night. Jamal Murray just returned from injury and is on back-to-back. I would be a little surprised, honestly, if the Denver Nuggets didn't go full bore, given what they've kind of done so far. But it's going to be really interesting to see how both teams approach this game with so much on the line, but also the need to get rest before the playoffs begin.
Yeah, I agree with what you said about Minnesota just needing this and wanting it more, wanting to show that they can do it. Like I said, though, total mess. Everything's just a total mess. We'll get you out of here with a pick for tonight. So, Jay, what's your play?
Yeah, I'm hoping that this game isn't a mess, but I'm going to go with Cavs team total over 115.5. I believe it's at 116.5 now. I still like it as well. I think the Cavs bust out here with an offensive explosion here. And I have like a little prescription pad as well. And what I prescribe for the Cavs is a confidence boosting win versus the Memphis Grizzlies here tonight. It's exactly what they needed. They're coming back coming back home off of a 5-game road trip. They played some really tough defensive teams as well. The one team that they played that wasn't a tough defensive team, the Utah Jazz, they went out there and smoked them and put up 120 plus points. I think that's exactly what they do here tonight. So I'm rocking with the Cavs here to bust out offensively, get ready for the playoffs, and get their offense well-rounded, ready for the playoffs here. So give me Cavs team total over 115.5, 116.5.
I like it. Cavs are 5th in the East right now, by the way. Same record as the Magic, who are in 4th. Jay, Matt, thank you.
Thank you.
It's 3 p.m. somewhere, so let's talk props on three-pointers made. And with a pro subscription on the Action app, you can see the biggest projected edge belongs to the Raptors, Gary Trent Jr., to go over 2.5 threes. He's projected to hit 3+, giving this a 10.6% edge. As we bring in Gilles Gallant for more three-point props. Okay, our friend Jay Money is expecting the Cavs offense to thrive tonight against Memphis. And based on your first pick, you agree?
Yeah, I think I have to. I mean, the G in Grizzlies may as well stand for G League at this point. Like, I mean, Evan Mobley is actually who I'm targeting in this game. To hit a three-pointer tonight, it's around plus 130, plus 125. Basically, you want the plus odds, at least plus 115. So here's the deal with Evan Mobley, Maria. Since returning from injury on March 24th, he's played 9 games. He's hit at least one three-pointer in 7 of those games. He actually had a 6-game streak of hitting a three-pointer. It just got broken in the most recent game where he missed it versus the Clippers. But what was encouraging is that he still took 2 3-point attempts in that game. And that's part of the reason why I've been betting him so much lately, is because his 3-point attempts have just doubled this past month compared to 3-point attempts prior to the All-Star break. And I think part of that is sharing the floor with Jared Allen, who's more of a rim protector, is going to be on the strong side of the defense. You're not going to see him very much on the perimeter. It allows Mobley kind of to be able to drift to the 3-point line a little more often. And I said, just got a great matchup tonight against the Grizzlies, because over the last 30 days, they rank bottom 8 in opponent 3-point attempts, makes, 3-point shooting percentage. They've basically wrote off the season at this stage. So this is a solid matchup with solid odds and a shifting role by Evan Mobley. So I have to keep betting this as long as they're going to give us plus odds on Evan Mobley to hit a 3-pointer.
Yeah, he's had a couple injuries this season, but when on the floor, he's definitely become much more of a shooting threat this season. All right, tell us about your other pick for today.
For sure. And one thing I wanted to add too about Mobley is Donovan Mitchell may come back tonight in this game. And for anybody who might be concerned, he might take away 3-point attempts or shots, he's actually hit a 3-pointer in the last 4 games that Donovan Mitchell has played. So I just wanted to clarify that for anybody who might have that objection about Donovan Mitchell. But the other one I do have is actually in relation to the Gary Trent Jr. prop. I'm going to that Brooklyn Raptors game. And I'm looking at Mikal Bridges to have at least 3 3-pointers against the Raptors. It's around minus 115, minus 120. So Bridges may not be that first option offensively that we were hoping for or banking for on the Nets, but he does lead the team with 7.3 3-point attempts for the year. And that's actually increased to over 8 since the All-Star break, and been one of the more consistent 3-point props to bet on is Mikal Bridges, because he's hit this prop in 17 of 25 games since the All-Star break. That's a 68% hit rate. 2 of those games were actually against the Raptors. He went 3 for 12 from 3-point and 4 for 10 from 3-point. So the volume is very encouraging. And he fell short last game on Sunday against the Kings, and it was just a straight blowout. So he only played, like 21 minutes. But entering that game, he had cleared this prop in 11 straight games. And the Raptors, they've pretty much made it clear that defense is optional. Like over the last month, they have not really tried at all defensively. Over the last 30 days, Toronto is last in points allowed per game. They're bottom 5 in opponent 3-point attempts, makes, and shooting percentage. So if you thought the Grizzlies were a great matchup, the Raptors pretty much take any 3-point prop against them, and you're feeling pretty good. So Mikal Bridges, I like him to have 3-point makes tonight in what should be pretty much like a glorified exhibition in the NBA.
Right. You know, one of the things I remember you saying to me about betting 3-point props is to look at the volume really more than anything else. And so I learned something from you, Gilles, and I went and looked how many, threes is he attempting per game, 7.3, which is, I know, across the whole season. So, a little bit of a different sample size, but 16th in the NBA, not too shabby for Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, volume is key. I think if anything, like it's hard to hit a 3-point prop if you're not shooting it. Mobley, like for example, is a little bit different on that front, but his opportunities is that guys are just kind of leaving him open on the perimeter, whereas Bridges, I mean, he's pretty much had the green light all year. So anytime you can get odds around -115 for over 2.5 threes against a defense like this, you should take it.
Sounds good. Gilles Gallant, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Maria. Talk again soon.
Over to golf as the Masters tees off tomorrow. Here are the odds to win outright. The 2022 Masters champion Scottie Scheffler is the leader at +400. Rory McIlroy checks in at +1,000, followed by last year's Masters champ Jon Rahm at +1,100. Xander Schauffele at +1,400 and Brooks Koepka at +1,600 round out the top 5. We're joined now by our expert, Colin Wilson. Let's start with the top golfer in the world, Scottie Scheffler. He is on baby watch. So does that make him a stay away?
He is a stay away. Listen, Scottie Scheffler checks all the boxes that you would want, from props, DFS, outrights. Maybe planning is not a part of his forte, but his commitment to leave the Masters the second his wife goes into labor is a huge red flag with any wager you want to put down. His number's already 4-1. There's no value in a golf number at 4-1 pre-tournament. That number is going to be available on Sunday in round 4 if he's still there. So there's no reason to buy this now. And listen, Sam Burns' wife is due like in 8 days, which is shorter, and he is also committed to leaving too. So I'm not saying go fade them in matchups or fade them any way you can. I'm saying if you have to get a number on these guys, just wait till Sunday.
Fair enough. Yes. So Scheffler's wife is apparently due later in the month, later than Sam Burns' wife. But moving on to your best bets, one you're targeting is a nationality special. You like Corey Connors as the best Canadian. Tell us more.
Yeah, I love Corey Connors. He's going to do some damage at this tournament. He has before. He had 3 straight top 10s from 2020 to 2022. He's currently healthy, and he's in form. He's had 3 straight top 25s, Texas Open, Players, Arnold Palmer. His Canadian counterparts, they're just not there. Adam Hadwin just got cut at the Players. Nick Taylor finished 64th at the Valspar. So Corey Connors, it's plus money right now. Probably won't be by tomorrow. Best Canadian.
Well, another market you can look at is first round leader. As of today, the tee times are set. So when you talk about first round leader bets, how do you factor in those tee times and who do you like?
Yeah, I mean, with first round leader bets, you generally want real early tee times. You want a clean track. You don't want divots everywhere. You want to avoid the heat, but that doesn't apply to Augusta. Augusta is a second shot course. It's a tee to green course, and it's the most predictable tournament of the entire year on the PGA schedule. So if you've had previous success here, you're probably going to have it again. Now, Lowry, he's currently second on the PGA Tour right now in first round scoring. So that sticks out immediately. He's also had 4 straight top 25s at the Masters. That sticks out. He shot 68 in the first round last year. And oh, by the way, let's look at the weather. Thursday morning, 20-mile-an-hour winds, thunderstorms. Yes, that helps the Irishman. I will take Shane Lowry. I know it's about a 12:20 tee time, but those showers linger over. It only favors him. Give me Shane Lowry 40-1.
Who are you betting right now in the outright market?
Well, there's a rule with all of us at Action Network. You just lay your Hideki Matsuyama and your Justin Rose bets, or get them in early. We're going to go with Hideki Matsuyama 20-1 here to win this tournament. I mean, it's a former winner. He's never been cut. He's made a top 20 in 6 of 7 years that he's been here. The question is he in current form? And that answer is yes, because a month ago he showed up at Bay Hill, numb leg, back pain, didn't think he was going to be able to make it. He turns around and he has 2 top 10s at the Players and at the Texas Open. Strokes gained tee to green. I said it's one of the most important stats here at the Masters. Yeah, there's only one player better than him over the last 2 months in this entire field, and that's Scotty Scheffler, who may be gone because of a baby. So we'll take Hideki Matsuyama here, 20-1.
Fair enough. Well, before we let you go, a little change of topic here. Your alma mater, Arkansas, with a splashy hire. They bring in John Calipari as men's basketball coach. Ooh, look at that. Their odds to win the national title, by the way, moved from 70-1 to 30-1. Would you bet or pass?
I will pass. Now, I can't believe this is the same Coach Cal that was badmouth in Arkansas when he was a coach at UMass in 96, but he's now our guy. But there's zero roster. Everybody's left. Trevin Brazil has declared for the NBA draft. Everybody else is in the portal. We haven't gotten anybody. And listen, there's going to be a heavy appetite to join Cal. We're going to get great players. We're going to get everything out of the portal. We're going to have enough money to afford whoever we want. That's just how college basketball works. But he hasn't made a Final Four since 2015. These odds went from 70-1 down to 30-1 just on the news of him coming. He has a blank canvas. There isn't going to be anybody there, although there will be high quality talent that's going to push this number all the way up to 20-1 before the season goes next year. It's just not a good bet whatsoever when you don't know the roster makeup. If you're itching for a Razorback bet, it doesn't need to be basketball. It needs to be in baseball. We are going to be the #1 overall seed on the way to Omaha, and we have the deepest and best pitching staff in the nation.
There you go. I feel like that was a nice diplomatic way of saying you're not the biggest fan of the hire.
Did I say that out loud?
All right. Well, I won't put you on the spot anymore. Colin Wilson, thank you so much.
Thank you.
To baseball, and that didn't take long. Orioles are calling up 20-year-old Jackson Holliday after a great start to the season in AAA. He is the top prospect in MLB and the son of 7-time All-Star Matt Holliday. You can find him at plus 350 to win AL Rookie of the Year. Our MLB expert, Sean Zerillo, is here with us. So what do you make of Holliday for a potential Rookie of the Year bet?
Yeah, I actually took some plus 350 today, and I don't mind the wager. If you look at the projections for the remainder of the 2024 season, he actually projects second right between Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford in terms of final wins above replacement. And largely speaking, Rookie of the Year has become a war predicated on the wins above replacement leader. If you exclude the pandemic shortened season, 18 of the past 22 winners of the Rookie of the Year finished first in their respective leagues in wins above replacement. And the average ranking for all of those players, including the 4 who missed, was 1.4. So basically first or second is where you need to finish in order to win the award. And I actually think Holliday is a little bit under projected too. I don't know if those have adjusted relative to the call up currently in the extra games that he's going to get, but essentially the highest projection has him playing 118 games of the Orioles 152 remaining. So about 75% of those games they expect him to play in. If you bump that up to 85%, if he ends up moving to the top of the lineup, eventually he's batting 9th today, but if he eventually gets towards the top of that Orioles lineup, he definitely has a chance to win the award, if not should be the outright favorite. Really good plate discipline, and this is why I think Jackson Holliday is going to be a better real-life player than he is a fantasy player. He's not going to put up huge numbers for your fantasy team, probably about 10 to 12 steals and homers over the remainder of the season. Maybe he gets the 15 in either category, but he's going to get on base a ton and he's going to hit a lot of doubles. So he is the kind of player you want to put at the top of your lineup. He's going to see a lot of pitches. He's going to take a lot of walks. And I think that's a good reason why he may eventually move to the top of the Orioles lineup. But really like Jackson Holliday as a player. As I said, I think he's going to be a better real life guy than he is a fantasy guy, but he does so many things well. Wins above replacement is going to be something that benefits him. And the defensive adjustment of playing second base versus Evan Carter, who's playing the outfield, or versus Wyatt Langford, who's DHing, is only going to help his WAR count as well. So plus 300 or better on Jackson Holliday right now to win Rookie of the Year, something I would definitely consider adding to my futures card. I like Junior Caminero more from a long-term perspective, but he's currently out with a quad injury, so not going to see Junior anytime soon.
Well, based on your analysis, Sean, if I'm an O's fan right now, I am excited. Yeah. But the Orioles, they beat Boston last night, have game 2 tonight in Fenway, and you have a pick on this game.
Yeah, not something I bet last night, not something I necessarily expected about today, but there was a price adjustment towards the Red Sox, and I think the Orioles are worth betting. And Cutter Crawford for the Red Sox is a pitcher I probably bet on more consistently than any other arm last season. So very surprised to see me going against him here. But Cole Irvin showed some interesting things in his first start of the season. Didn't have the best results, but his stuff plus rating has gone up by about 11 points. Was previously about 20% below league average, now closer to 9%. But he didn't have a single pitch last year that graded out as a league average pitcher better. Now he's sitting with a sinker at 111 stuff plus, which is 11 points above league average. His curveball has also crossed over that major league average barrier. So I think Cole Irvin, with a velocity uptick, with improved movement on his pitches, is going to be a guy who's a little bit sneaky in the betting markets, and someday I may continue to target moving forward. So the Orioles are projected closer to -120 for the first 5 innings tonight, -112 for the full game. Happy to bet those up to about -110 and -105 respectively. And hopefully the Jackson Holiday era gets off to a good start for the O's. I'm pretty sure they didn't want to bat him leadoff just because you don't want him coming to the plate as the first thing in that game. It's a much easier transition to hit him 9th tonight. Maybe he does move up in that lineup eventually, though.
Yes, true. Okay. And the Orioles are 6-4 on the season so far. Both them and the Red Sox, of course, behind the Yankees. Okay. You have another bet for us. Give it to us.
This one getting started in about 20 minutes. The San Francisco Giants on the first 5 money line up to about -200. Projected this line closer to -220. And Patrick Corbin is always a pitcher I'm going to want to bet against if I could find ways to do it. 10 more losses over the past 3 years than any other pitcher in baseball. Obviously, 1-loss record, not the best way to evaluate pitchers. However, Patrick Corbin's expected ERA has been over 6 the past couple of seasons. And if you've just blindly bet against Corbin on the first 5 money line over the past 3 years, you would be profitable just blindly taking every money line against them. And if you took the bigger favorites, if you took the favorites who are -180 or higher, you'd have an ROI closer to 5 or 6%. So I think Patrick Corbin, the level of depths that he's fallen to relative to where he was previously in that all-star form, I don't think people have even realized, how much of a replacement level arm this guy is at this point. And Jordan Hicks has looked really solid for the Giants. Not only is he continuing to post above average pitch modeling metrics, but he's also maintained a very high ground ball rate. And having Matt Chapman behind him in the infield defense in the Giants, I think is really going to lend to his performing well, to Logan Webb's performing well over the remainder of the season. So really good fits getting those ground ball guys in San Francisco with the infield defense that they have behind him. And I like Hicks against Corbin today. The Giants have been a little wonky the past few days against the Nationals, but I should also mention too, over the full game line, if it's tied after 5 innings, I'd probably jump in on the Giants as well if you get a little bit of a discount. The Nationals have won 3 straight. They've had to use their key relievers very aggressively in the past 3 days, though. So the Giants should have a big bullpen advantage tonight as well. I just think the first 5 money line, there's a bit shorter of a price relative to what you should be getting.
Very good insight, as always. Corbin on brand with a 6.97 ERA in his 2 starts so far. Sean Zerillo, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Remember, any picks we give out here on the show, you can easily reference by following Green Dot Daily in the Action app. We keep track so you don't have to. That's all for Green Dot Daily. I'm Maria Marino. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow at 3 Eastern on the Action Network YouTube channel and the Action app.